Thank you so much, Bart. And those cosplayers there, man.
Wow.
I know that we already had the ruling on where they placed, but that hell won my heart.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Of course, there's no biased judgment there. If it's a Hell or a Ymir out there, you're going to be cheering.
Oh my God, if there was a mirror. Oh, okay, I'm sorry, everyone. Game 2 for the day. Your set 2, we saw with set 1 there. It was a stomp.
That was impressive. The North American Splice pulling a fast one, I think, on Dignitas.
Yeah, like we talked about, I mean, we didn't really see Splice for an entire month, and we wanted to see what they would pull out, and they definitely had a lot of good strategies to counteract some of the EU meta.
Fine, okay, thank you so much for joining us here on the Alienware Analyst Desk, everyone. I'm Kelly Ling, and of course, joining me again is Anatoly for all day on this desk.
Yep, all day.
Nice. We're going to do console right after this, but it is now set 2 Trifecta versus Rival, guys. The games that we saw yesterday, just of like looking at the base numbers, Trifecta struggled a little bit more than Rival, who got that 2-0 victory.
Well, the thing was that Rival was up against kind of a crippled energy. You could tell that they weren't all there mentally. Homie FA played lights out, I would say, in place of Yamin, but it was the other outside factors of preparation. I don't think that energy handled the aggressive Erlang Shen from Deathwalker.
Definitely, and on the other hand, United Trifecta, they know each other pretty well, so they definitely fought back and forth, but Trifecta brought it out on top.
Trifecta, even though losing one game against EU United, I believe, they definitely showed that it really isn't just the San Paul League anymore, that this whole team works so well together. Even individually, they are all phenomenal. And Zapman showed that he can be passive and aggressive. In that game 3, he showed what the old Zapman is.
That's right. NeiruMah was playing the Artio, the Hachiman Artio up against the Terra Jingwei combination. There wasn't that much pressure from EU United that they drafted, and as a result, Zapman got that early kill, or actually it was NeiruMah that got that early kill, and I believe that Zapman got a return kill also when Scream rotated on that Pele, and since then, Zapman just ran that entire game 3.
He was playing so confidently yesterday, and it's always the question whether Zapman's going to be too confident or just, you know, playing a little bit passive, but he was playing so confident, it definitely showed with this play.
You never know which Zapman is showing up, the Zapman that made Worlds or the Zapman that didn't make Worlds.
So something in this matchup that we saw yesterday, and I'm glad that we have Raijin up here, is that it seemed like whoever had Raijin had the lead.
That's right, game number 1, Paul, game 2, Baskin had a good performance on the Raijin, game 3, Paul, yet again. That could be a contested pick between these two teams.
Yeah, it's just such a comfortable pick, and it's so safe into a lot of these junglers that can't get over walls or not really diving on you. If you get blinked on by the jungler, they have no way to follow you over the wall, so.
Good self-peels also with the Taiko drums, great range as well from that ultimate ability, covering just a lot of safe and aggressive options.
Speaking of contested picks, that we saw Erlang and Merc be picked twice for Rival, and that seemed to be the biggest issue.
I don't expect Trifecta to allow that one to go through. Knowing how much Sam likes Erlang Shen, if anything, if he's not going to have the opportunity to play it, Trifecta should ban it away.
It seemed like Energy, at least in theory, was okay with letting those two through, but I definitely don't think Trifecta will do the same. So.
Well, why were they okay, though, letting those two through?
Maybe possibly in scrims, maybe they had some good win rates against it, or maybe specifically adapting, thought he might have a good jungle pick into it. It just didn't end up working out.
All right, well, I'm really excited to see what the coach from Rival, Alpha Jackal, has to say about coming into this game.
Thanks so much, Kelly, and I am here with Alpha Jackal, the coach of Team Rival. And first things first, Alpha, you guys are back on the big stage one more time. What's going through the teams right now?
To not let the same thing happen last year.
That's really all it is? Like, you don't want any repeats? You guys want to just bring it home the whole 9 yards?
The whole focus is on winning this tournament.
And as far as going up against Trifecta, are you guys having any sort of concerns? I mean, North America has started really heating up lately.
We're a tiny bit concerned about their momentum coming into the tournament. They looked pretty bad to begin with during the placement rounds, but they started to ramp up the performances, and they've continued that into Dreamhack, which is something we can stop the momentum.
And last but not least, I have to ask it, can we expect to see anything spicy coming out of Rival this set?
Maybe.
Just gonna leave us all hanging like that?
Maybe.
Well, I guess that's all we're going to get from you guys for right now, Alpha. But thank you so much for your time. Best of luck to you guys during this next set. Come on, man. Don't leave me hanging. All right, back to you guys on the desk.
Thank you so much, Taco. And I'm not going to leave you hanging there. I thought that was really interesting coming out of Alpha Jackal, who yesterday, the 2-time world champions, Energy, he was like, we got this easily. This one, he seems a little bit more hesitant about.
I think Alpha Jackal's relieved that it was Trifecta defeating E United because they didn't want to go for that rematch performance possibly, but still a little humble, respecting the momentum that Trifecta is coming into this match with.
At the same time, it's likely that Rival has never played anyone on Trifecta, especially Sam and Paul, considering that they are former SML players. So they may be a little bit more respectful considering they don't know exactly how to play against them.
But we saw Deathwalker going in with that early aggression, kind of understanding his playbook a little bit. Do you think that we're going to continue to see him do that early aggression, go for those 1v2s, 1v3s? Only
if Scary D plays a passive Guardian. Like, if he plays the Chang'e, if he plays the Baron Samedi, maybe Deathwalker will do that. But if Scary D's playing something aggressive, a Warrior even, I don't expect Deathwalker to do that kind of same shenanigans.
Yeah, and there's very few solo characters that can actually do that. Erlang Shen's probably one of the best at it, especially right now in this meta. So as long as he doesn't get the Erlang Shen, I'm not too worried about it.
So I want to go over each matchup, and we're going to get into game number 1 in just a moment, everyone. But talking about the junglers right now, as we have iceicebaby on the screen, Sam versus iceice. Tell me about these two players.
I think Sam relies on a lot of momentum. If he doesn't get off to an early start, it's all up to other supporting cast members to get that start. But iceicebaby doesn't really matter because he's always going to make a statement early, middle, or late. I think iceicebaby's god pool is a little bit more diverse than Sam for soccer. It might be a little bit easier to ban out Sam.
Yeah, iceice has been playing a lot of these characters that want to farm up early, like Mercury and Baka. They're not exactly looking for the ganks, at least pre-level 5. Whereas Sam's kind of been looking for those things where he's ganking level 2, level 3. And like Anatoly was talking about, he's looking for that momentum-based game where he gets a kill in one lane, possibly in duo, and then kind of snowball it from there.
So then how do they stop that momentum? How do they keep that from happening?
Well, specifically in duo lane, they really got to be careful for the early gank for coming out of Sam. Coming from back camps all the way to the duo lane. And as far as like solo and stuff like that, I think it's going to be more of like a farming lane, and there's not going to be too much aggression going on over there.
It's going to be exciting. I'm definitely excited to hear Shadow Chair's opinions on coming up to this game.
Here with Trifecta's very own Shadow Chair. And Shadow Chair, from that very first day of qualifiers, when you guys lost that set to Insignum, to being here in the semifinals, what is that like for the team?
I mean, the very first set we played was definitely way below standard for the team, so it was kind of like a shell shock. We're like, holy crap, this is not going well at all. So we had to kind of regroup and fix our mistakes, the problems we were making, and throughout the losers bracket, it definitely was more like what we were expecting. I think we got better and better every set, and we're ready to keep getting better all the way to the finals.
And do you personally feel like Trifecta is a team that plays up to the level of what they believe their opposition is at?
I think so. We can also play down to other teams too. We definitely match teams really well. I think that makes for a lot of very interesting sets with Trifecta versus any team really, except for, you know, bronze team or something.
Is there anything that you guys are particularly concerned about that Rival might bring out that you weren't going to originally be expecting? Or do you feel like this is a set that North America is going to bring home yet again?
Well, obviously I'm hoping we're going to win, but I don't want to say anything too crazy after last time. So I think it'll be an exciting set. I think Rival's a great team. They've been here before and they've done well, so I just hope we can take it away from them.
Well, it'll certainly be a very exciting matchup to see between the two of you guys. So best of luck to you guys up on the big stage, and we'll give it back to you guys on the desk.
Every time we see Shadow Chair again, he's becoming more and more humbled.
He doesn't want to eat his words ever again after losing to Insignum. But since that run, he's made, or his teammates beat out what? You guys, CLG, Mouse, Space Station Gaming. They defeated eUnited yesterday. What a set that was.
Yeah, he was talking about it. It seems like they play a lot to their enemies' skill level. So I think that even if they play the best team in the world, which they possibly could be, they're definitely going to play up to their level and do well.
They're almost like a Saiyan to the point where they get defeated once, and then they just keep growing stronger and stronger.
It's a good reference. Good job. Yeah. Thank you, Anatoly.
I had to do that one for you.
Thank you. But playing down to the enemy, extrapolate on that for me. Fine, okay. What exactly does that mean?
Just about playing sloppy. Sometimes you turn Conquest into an arena map and everyone's fighting nonstop on, anywhere on the map, and you just want to kind of avoid that at all possible.
You might get a little tunnel vision, you might be a little too aggressive, the comms might be a little bit lacking because you just want to frag out.
Well, it looks like we're already ready to get into picks and bans for the game number 1 of Rival versus Trifecta. It looks like the players are ready to go. Pretty standard bans so far.
Freya's open, Naja's open, Erlang Shen is open. 3 priority picks now. So if Rival gets one, Trifecta are definitely getting the other 2.
not surprised to see Opwash ban. Definitely think it's one of the best gods. They do elect to get the Erlang Shen, but that leaves the Freya open for Paul in the mid lane.
With that Erlang Shen, we saw Rival do really well, but it was mostly coupled with the Mercury as well, the two of them really decimating that team. So I'm excited to see what Trifecta does in response, maybe does pick up that Freya, and what else would you want with the Freya on top?
Possibly the Pele. Stanford Soccer loves that Polynesian jungler, but Odin is, I believe this is the first Odin game we're seeing.
It is.
In
Yeah,
HRX.
he's been banned a lot, and it's also a good pick in Erlang Shen. That's what I was hoping to pick, so we get the Freya as well. So a good counter pick into Erlang with the Odin. Odin obviously a pretty good pick right now, and then of course the Freya for Paul.
And the reason why Odin is banned so frequently is because you don't want to invest into getting a Phantom at level 1. You're going to have to deal with an Odin that picks up horrific emblems, so he's going to slow you down consistently. There's no way to get away from that.
But first picking that Odin, fine, okay. What does Rival now have to do in response? They're going to have lots of gods with escapes, or are they not really too worried about the Odin pick there and going to stick with their comfortable picks?
It's possible that they'll likely go for more gods with jumps and stuff to get out of the Odin cage. But at the same time, you can play Odin a little bit differently. You can have a character that will force those jumps out, and then Odin comes in with the cage afterwards.
Oh, we saw that at Wlfy already do so well.
I was just going to mention that, Kelly. Sino lights out on the Wlfy. Knowing iceicebaby, he likes to play aggressive too, so this could be an option.
And there is the Raijin, as we said before. Whoever had the Raijin had the game, but Neith with that global presence coming out. I think we saw her once during the entire SWC.
Yes, and this is just a safe pick, I think, in general. It doesn't matter if it's mid or in the dual lane. With Raijin locked in, that's going to go in the hands of Wlfy. Vote's just going to be looking where to throw those global ults.
Looks like Zapman is going to go with his classic Ullr.
You never know, actually, with these two picks. These are two flex picks, and those two players love both of those gods.
They're both very aggressive gods, and Paul and Zap both like playing them. And the Neith pick is interesting as well, because if Freya does end up going mid, if Neith ever connects with her in mid, she's going to force out the ult pretty consistently.
It looks like they were on the same spot as we were with that Wlfy ban, Anatoly. They do not want to have to deal with anyone jumping out of Odin's cage
And the thing
being
is,
grabbed by her.
Trifecta could have picked their Wlfy if they wanted to, considering they have the next pick. But knowing that Pele is open, I think they're going to lean on that. Neith would have been a good target selection for a Wlfy to constantly pull back.
Oh, but there's the Pele ban now in response. These bans right here, the second phase of bans is really going to shape up how this game comes out.
Yeah, we haven't seen Trifecta's jungler pick yet, which is a little concerning to me. If it goes deep into Sam's god pool, I don't want to see him be put on the back foot, because we haven't really seen him get behind early on. I think he relies a lot on that momentum.
And that's going to be hard going up against iceicebaby.
Very is true. I think Rival haven't really revealed their jungler pick yet either. Erlang Shen could go jungle theoretically, but NeiruMah can play it. Or I'm sorry, Deathwalker can play it. Seeing Neil on my screen, I just like my mind goes straight to it. But yeah, Deathwalker can play him. I think a little bit of Callus action as well. We'll see.
If he ends up getting that Erlang Shen Deathwalker, and he likes to do a similar playstyle where he goes for the speed buff invade level 1 or just looks for a pick, it's gonna be really scary for Sam, considering that he hasn't really been put on that back foot at all lately.
So then what do you want to see Trifecta build here then to not deal with that early aggression?
Just something that's pretty good level 1. I mean, if it's a bad level 1 character and they have an Erlang Shen and he just walks in the speed buff, it's going to be really hard to deal with.
You normally want like what, Achilles, Kakolin, some kind of aggressive warrior that can actually deal damage at level 1.
They saw Scary do really well in that Chonga, so they're going to ban her out for this phase. And now we're going into the Raijin pick.
The Robin
pick.
Robin for Trifecta locked in. Leads me to believe that that's going to go in the hands of Sam. He did a good job. I think that was game number 3 against United, where his dives were just unanswered.
Oh, Bellona. Why haven't we been seeing Bellona?
Just kind of forgotten more than anything. And the ultimate is really good, I think. Like shorter cooldown than 90 seconds. The disarm is valuable against the Freya.
She just has a lot of bad matchups, things like Sobek, Kuzenbo, things that usually wouldn't win lane actually do win lane against her. So it's just hard to pick her in a lot of those matchups.
The meta shifted also to more of a Guardian's Blessing kind of deal, and because Bellona can't snowball lanes anymore the way she used to in Season 4 with Fire Giant Elemental, she's just kind of got swept under the rug.
Well, they're hovering over the Fafnir and the Bellona right now, not confirmed just yet, so maybe they aren't going to. But looking at this comp right now for Rival, what they're planning to go for, are they going to try and get that early game from against Trifecta, or are they going for the late game here?
I think they're going for more of a mid-game style because of the Raijin Fafnir combination. Looking for multiple disarms against the Freya is their typical goal, and early game could be a factor, knowing that Neith global pressure, wherever Erlang Shen goes, that global will follow.
And it also looks like they're going for a bit of a dive. They have a double warrior plus a Fafnir who wants to dive pretty hard. And then they're just picking two characters. Neith, who's going to supplement the dive with her Neithful, and then Raijin is just going to be really safe in the backline.
Looks like the audience is excited about that Bellona pick. I know I am, and it looks like they're going to end off Trifecta's comp with a Cerberus.
This is a good pickup because the control between the stage and tournament, but more importantly, the ghastly breath, magical penetration on one individual target. Freya's damage is going to skyrocket.
It's definitely a good matchup into Bellona as well, the Cerberus, so it's good to put Scary on something that he can win lane with.
You're saying Rival's going for the mid game here, but what is Trifecta going to be focusing on?
Trifecta are just going to try to make sure they don't get repeated the way Energy got spanked, because that is going to be a difficult task to stop Deathwalker on this Erlang Shen. This could be Bellona jungle, actually. iceicebaby has played it before in the past.
That's true, and they also have, Trifecta may be looking for that early duo aggression with the Odin with Horrific, and depending on if it's Freya or Ullr, it doesn't really matter. Both are really good early on and have really good wave clear and kill potential, so Rival definitely has to be careful with that, especially with the Neith.
Do you think that after watching that last set, that either of these two teams pull a splice and bring over the solo laner?
It's possible. It's definitely a good strategy. There's just so much downtime before the second wave, and you actually kind of get punished for pushing the first wave in solo, so there's just so much potential for you to do other things on the map.
All right, both these teams being picked right now. We're going to be jumping into game number 1 in just a moment. Guys, who are you giving it to?
Honestly, this game, I got to give it to Rival. I like the disarms against Freya.
I like Trifecta.
All right, we're split on the desk. Gentlemen, at the casting station, how do you feel?
I feel wonderful, F. We're going to get a semi-final between Trifecta and Rival. Who would have thought it would be those?
I mean, there's a lot of questions going on here, but as far as how good these players are, that's something that I don't question. Listen, I was pretty honest on it earlier this week. I said I didn't even see Trifecta making it out of placements. Now, hell, I think they can win the whole damn thing.
Even the audience was quiet at that one, so let's just see how this one goes, first of all right? Let's not too far ahead of ourselves. Rival, at the beginning of this game, though, straight away looking for the invade with Deathwalker leading the charge again. This time, though, on the Bellona, not the Erlang Shen we saw him on yesterday.
Hey, you remember once upon a time, it brings up bad memories, the whole envy situation. But what it comes down to is Baskin smacked everybody with this Bellona pick because she hits multiple people, one versus whoever, and she's going to do more damage with that slam. So look out for the bludgeon level 1. He might be able to get that speed buff invade, even though, look at wherever he is. Trifecta, ready and waiting.
Speaking of Trifecta, we're talking a lot about Rival there. Well, Paul got his Ullr in the mid lane. Oof. I'm a little bit worried about how much this could take off, and Wlfy's going to have a rough time of things if he's not careful.
It's actually really funny. Looking at the raw stats, it defies the reality of the situation.
It really does.
Paul's played Ullr only 7 times throughout the year, but what it comes down to is this is one of the gods y'all got to be afraid of. He's going to smack you all 7 times he gets that god. This could be number 8, and when it comes down to Paul doing his thing, that's how Trifecta gets here.
So Rival at the start of the game going to take their own purple buff and not contest the wave against the Freya and the Odin. Those teams to soak the farm on that left-hand side. Kala's going to be playing the Fafnir we've seen plenty of times before. But just keep an eye on those 2 men in mid lane. It's definitely going to be a big day for both of them.
Yeah, that Fafnir has been the #1 pick for Kalas for a long time, and it's interesting because the meta has moved. We're looking at more aggro-type champions in that support position. We're looking at the Fenrirs, we're looking at the Brodins. Now he's just going back to the classic Fafnir.
But he does have an Erlang Shen and a Bellona with him, which are going to get use out of this Fafnir.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Pressure for Trifecta in the middle lane translates directly to a nice easy red buff invade. Just, they drew it up.
That's the Raven versus the Erlang Shen more than anything else. The extra bit of pressure that Ullr's going to be bringing in the mid lane in the early game. Raijin's clear is there, but end of the day, Ullr is the one that has one of the most dominant clears in the game.
I mean, Raijin's clear is top tier. It's just the fact that Ullr's not even a damn mage. He's a hunter. So he comes through, takes care of business nice and early. That lets the team get the pressure in the mid lane. That translates into the jungle invade. And all of a sudden, look at the number differential. That's why Trifecta is able to go ahead, put the power onto Paul.
And we do see this Neith that now and again comes into competitive play around this time too, specifically against a Freya, reducing the attack speed a little bit and also being able to re-sustain back off.
Clear's a big deal as well. Meanwhile, mid lane,
not so much.
Not a big deal for Wlfy.
Not just yet, but this dual lane is definitely going to be a talking point. His vote got bursted heavily, and here comes NeiruMah! Bang! To burst him down for first blood. The Trifecta fans are back in the house now as rival. Fall down.
The classic backflip. Everybody knows where you're going. Odin just stomps down the classic bird bomb. Love that play from NeiruMah, mainly because this is the pick that you got to be aggressive with. You've got to get the numbers beneath you. He's a guy that wants to do damage as much as he wants to help out. There's no real peel on Odin. You know how Odin peels? He jumps on the enemy and makes them walk away because they got him hurt.
I mean, technically he spins to the spot too, right? It slows you a little bit, but other than that, it's not the greatest forms of peel, but just a slow. Let's take a look back at that first blood though, and just watch how Neil waits for all the burst to come through from Zap and goes, you know what? I'll clean up the kill now.
Oh, it's just a straight read. I mean, NeiruMah out here teaching third grade. He looks at Zapman, and he just sees, or Vote rather, he just sees the jump and follows it, knows exactly where he's gonna land. Simple as simple can be.
I'm not gonna lie, though, we've seen a lot of Fafnirs today and yesterday that seem to miss a few of those basic jumps, but not an Odin player.
Nah, I mean, well, compare the size of the circle. Odin's bird bomb?
Yeah, we don't have the bomb on top of that, but the leap's still relatively the same here. Rotation this time from the dual lane of rival to make sure they secure their own red buff. Trifecta getting that first blood, going to an Odin, isn't doom and gloom. The extra gold will get his items online a little bit quicker.
That's exactly kind of what I was alluding to earlier. This Odin's a god that you want to give money to. You want to see him. His job is to lower the kill threshold. Some supports try to line players up and set up their team by stunning, and then you do all the damage. Now your teammate has to do less damage because your support's providing subs. So instead of I stun...
Oh, there could be pressure for Vote here because Sam the Soccer's round the back. He's looking for a pick on Zap, but instead, it's him getting all in by the jungle and support. And who steps up to get the kill? It's Zapman.
That's the reason y'all don't play Neith. Everybody knows where she's backflipping.
Oh, Deathwalker's on a ride. Gonna have to Eagles rally away, but trade for trade, not too bad.
Not concerned there. Team rival solo laner Deathwalker knew what was happening the entire time. You might even argue he let himself get ulted. But going over here back to the dual lane, that was so clean. That was Trifecta just saying, wrap around, we have to punish this Neith.
And Neith is looking to use the World Weaver for picks as this game goes on, so trying to put it behind early gives up an easier laning phase where, realistically, once they hit about level 7 for both of them, they're not going to be trading very often. They'll one-shot the wave.
That's the reason you pick the Neith, is because very few characters can actually match the clear of Freya these days. It's funny, we used to talk about the other situation
where Freya
she couldn't clear the damn wave. Now she's different, and the Neith is going to be able to match that level clear. That's the main reason we see Vote pick this up. The World Weaver is going to certainly help out, and that's why Trifecta is keeping her under their thumb. They want to make sure that Vote doesn't get an easy game, and also, they want Zapman to be big and fat.
And Zapman already is. He's a level ahead of Vote now, and he's forcing Callus to stay in this lane too to support the Neith in the early game. Nice whoop out of Zappy. He's getting aggressive on his own. Keep an eye in the jungle. You can see a couple of members of Trifecta now grouping around the red buff area.
Meanwhile, Wlfy sees him. He's going to play it nice and safe here. Red buff invade one more time from Trifecta.
Just depends on what abilities rival use to get it in and out around here. So the leap now being down for Fafnir's and one awkward one. Could be risky for Trifecta, but they know that Team Rival are here to defend. The ultimate used by Wlfy to secure, as Sam is a little bit overextended here.
Now the team fight's going to go down. Callus brought down to about half. But they respect the damage from the Raijin. Even though the ultimate was down and it confirmed the red buff, Trifecta still don't want to fight into it. Great play, honestly, by both teams. Rival recognizing just what type of artillery they need to use in order to confirm their red buff, and Trifecta getting out. I think it's really easy to just sort of stick around and look for the fight.
On a basic level, I mean, it was 2 ults for nothing in the grand scheme of things. Trifecta showed up and get a World Weaver out of Neith and the Raijin ult to try and defend the red buff. Okay, next time you do that, maybe we'll do a goal.
Sure, that's fair. At the same time, are you trying to say you don't like that Rival did that?
No, I'm saying it's a win for Trifecta.
Okay. Because Team Rival right there, it's important to make a statement, right? You're on the playground, the bully pushes you, you don't do anything, bully's going to keep pushing you.
Talking about making a statement, Zapman pressuring this Neith now consistently, looking for the Bancroft's talent to continue on the build. Freya definitely variable in the terms of build options, but Deathwalker's going to be a little bit careful here.
They get hit on by 1, 2, 3 players in Trifecta jerseys. Eagles rally after the fact. Stygian Torment, and he's going to turn around. Here comes Odin. Collis shows up to provide some help, but is it enough? No! Sam for Soccer gets one. Traded out by Collis as he puts down the jungle.
And Scaredy's going to run as fast as his legs can take him. The dragon is causing problems, but iceicebaby has the speed buff. He respects Paul rotation, but now Wlfy's on his own too.
Scary D trying to line up with Paul. Can he stop it?
Paul's going in.
Gets stunned. Iceice cleans him up, but Paul
got Wlfy.
off camera takes care of Wlfy. 1v1, and the mid lane's done.
Still charging forward is Neil now trying to keep Callis busy. What is going to happen though with Zapman also making that rotation to the mid lane to secure? I think they could get some tower pressure on there potentially, but they're happy with the result already. Deathwalker overextends, and Trifecta pick up on a couple of kills.
Exactly what they want to do. Team Rivals Hunter actually able to get involved. That's a big deal with the World Weaver. But I love that Zapman makes a half rotation. Red buff secure.
Yeah, I was looking at it. I was like, red buff goes down. I was listening to the crowd cheer. I'm like, did I miss something? I'm like, nope, they're just cheering over a red buff. Okay.
It's
They're really on the game today.
The loud crowd that we've got here.
Oh, right-hand side. The bludgeon damage is good. NeiruMah had the bird bomb available, at least for the shield part of that, to protect some of the damage with the Raven Shout. But it won't make too much of a difference for now. They'll be able to defend their blue buff on the right-hand side. So can experience. You can see these supports are starting to roam heavily around the map.
Yeah, the supports definitely want to be a little bit more involved. They want to make sure that they can really affect everything, because when you look at who they are, NeiruMah on the Odin is absolutely something that you want to make that rotation for.
Let's have a look back at that fight with Paul and Wlfy, I believe. We should be able to look back at what happened with Paul in the jungle up against Wlfy. And this was the fight that broke out because of Deathwalker.
Paul's over here and he's just dealing with the 1v1. Wlfy immediately realizes he can't handle the hunter damage. Paul has a little bit of a lead, and right there you see him take care of business thanks to INAP for the instant replay.
Great little play there, and that's all really. Whoever uses the leap first loses the engagement for the most part. Wlfy forced to leap away, and Paul's like, well, I can now chase you down and my abilities will come back up once more. Callis, though, looking at Paul in the mid lane, can't find the hammer this time round. And that's unusual for you to say that about Callis, because most of those Fafnir hammers lands on the mark.
They used to. Collis used to bring this character out every game, and he nailed it every game. Now, Collis been playing around a little bit more, spreading the god pool. Maybe the hours off of the character kind of took that muscle memory away.
No, even though we saw Trifecta get the first bloods and there were up 2 kills at them over a couple invades too, the gold situation is actually even between the two teams, if anything, ever so slightly in favor of Rival.
Yeah, it's nice and even. Scary D trying to change that,
World
looking for a
Weaver.
solo invade, and that one did not go Scary's way. Got a couple of Rival fans in the crowd.
I think this is definitely an even matchup of fans here, because well, technically Rivals probably favorites because they were underdogs last year.
Sure.
And they're the UEU boys that everyone watched to watch all the time with the crazy strategies and the fun stuff. But then you got Trifecta who are like, hang on, we should root for these boys too, because how are they here?
Trifecta is one of my favorite stories across competition. I mean, this is a classic sports story that I'm loving. It's 2 rookies, Sam for Soccer and Paul, SML call-ups, taking care of a veteran that's 1 or 2 years past his prime. That man can absolutely provide the damage and does his role. He's no longer the first option, and that's okay.
Oh, well, he might be the first option here for Vote to try and run away from. Backflip
Oh!
off. NeiruMah's there, but Vote jukes back. Rival, meanwhile, get the Pyromancer, but Zapman will bring down Vote on this left-hand side.
And that's what I'm talking about. Paul and Sam are the 2 spotlight players, but Zapman still's got the juice in the tank. He's able to turn up, and you know what just happened? Vote got zapulated.
So, yeah, sure, they get a kill in the dual lane, Trifecta get it, and the crowd goes wild, but Rival got the objective. They took away Pyromancer while that happened. That's free gold.
Pyro's a baby objective. I don't really care if you get Pyro.
At the moment you don't, but Callis might right now as he's being bursted too. The Dwarf's got to run, and actually Zap's going to get this one up. Maybe he's going to rotate around the back potentially, or he's actually just waiting for this purple to spawn.
I think they were worried about the threat of the rotation.
I thought so too.
You see Erlang, Shen, and Raijin just now making that rotation. They could have made that a little bit earlier, and I think that's what Trifecta were worried about.
And as soon as that happens as well, you can just see Sam for Soccer matching pace with iceicebaby. Both these junglers level 10 now. As the dual lane from Trifecta is still getting a bit aggressive, but there's an extra man from Rival coming in as now the ring is dropped on iceicebaby. He's trapped in a ring. No sustain for you. In comes Deathwalker though with a big old bludgeon.
It's gonna hit Zapman down. Help from Collis. Transformation, not good enough. Keeps him behind. Zapman is the second target. He dodges the spit, and he's 5.
Even the mid laners slowly made the rotation over. They were just a little bit too late to get involved. Even though Deathwalker came to that fight, right-hand side, Scaredy looked to try and get some objectives. And Rival trying to use the fact they're in dragon form with the Fafnir to try and maybe start up the Gold Fury.
I mean, that's the classic Rival. They're just looking to go and flip the coin on the objectives. Rival did get that red buff. It's been a while.
They've had one or two, really. There's actually less ultimates that time around, though. Axe in mid lane, though, will get the beats out of Wlfy, and the rain of arrows connects too. That guy's always hitting those.
That's just so dumb. I mean, you get stunned, you're not stunned anymore, and you still get hit. Paul, that's just dumb.
But now Wlfy's had to go back to base. Trifecta have opened up a little window for themselves.
Oh, beautiful.
The Gold Fury's been starting up on boats, the only one close. Just trying to get in range and look for a cheeky steal zone work from NeiruMah's there.
Keep
Gold
it.
Fury's getting reset, or is it?
No!
It got rivaled!
They
got
take it.
rivaled! Once again, Rival come up big, and now NeiruMah's in trouble. Has to drop the ring and get away, but Trifecta won't be happy. Sam trying to make something worthwhile out of this as Rival steal away the Gold Fury.
Systematic breakdown from Trifecta. Two players come forward to zone on the front end, but nobody takes care of the 3 o'clock push. There's a big rotation. Everybody saw it in the crowd, but nobody on Trifecta saw it.
Oh,
and so
Zap's got no ult, Zap's got no beats, Zap's got no life! Callus and Vogue combined to pick up a kill as Zapman, who has honestly played great in this laning phase, falls for the first time.
I think that's classic, and I'm almost ready to say it's okay. He's got to wrestle control this lane. You've got to play the lead that you're given. He walks a little too far forward, gets punished for it. I'm fine with that death. If it happens again, now we got to
That's
talk.
where you trouble it. Yeah, 4-6 then is the scoreline. The gold ever so slightly in Rival's favor because of the Gold Fury. Keeping an eye on the builds as well. We see that spear coming off the mid lane for Wlfy once again. A lot of penetration being upbuilt these days on the mid laners earlier than usual, at least from the mage point of view. Obviously, the physicals will still be going the same way.
The penetration's a little bit odd this early when we look at Spear of the Maggots. He goes it on every mage. When it comes down to Raijin, it works. Raijin is a multi-hit ability, so you're going to be able to tick up that Spear of the Maggots. But, I mean, this is before we see a lot of the hardcore magical defensive items brought out. What I like about Trifecta, though, here is Robin. Sanford Soccer identifies that the enemy's building early pen, so he's going into what could be early magical defense as well.
This is all about the adjustments, but on this right-hand side, Deathwalker and Scaredy going at it because iceicebaby is on the rotation, and now Scaredy's in a lot of trouble, trapped in place, tries to find his way out, but the two men from Rival bring him down.
Sanford Soccer could not go and help. Scary D finds the death. Deathwalker's going to take the tier 1 tower. 500 gold in the pocket. Team Rival. Meanwhile, Zapman on the left side looks for a little bit more, but Rival do a great job of timing that gank and making sure there's nothing that the left side of the map can capitalize with.
Trifecta though in the mid lane, maybe able to get this tier 1 tower. They've forced Wlfy back, so that dropping down at this stage of the game is quite important. There's less option for defense from Rival now in the middle area.
So Trifecta right now are trailing. They're down by about 2,000 gold, but Paul is up 2 levels. What I need to see is Paul start doing it. He's the star right now. Ullr in the mid game with a 2-level lead. This is the dream. Just go and rotate and smack people in the mouth.
iceicebaby uses his beads. They're a little bit worried about the rotation coming out from the whole of Trifecta. Rest of his team weren't really in position, as most of them on the right-hand side of the map, looking once again at the Pyromancer.
This is the idea from Team Rival that I've seen throughout this course of the game, is that they're just looking for tiny objectives. Pyromancer gives a couple of 100 gold, and Tower gives a couple of 100 gold. They're just looking to go ahead and slowly chip away. They're not going to throw everything at the Gold Fury. They're not going to flip a coin for the Fire Giant. They're just going to go and get every guaranteed win. And you know what? If you take 20 bucks home every day, someday you're going to be a millionaire.
Trifecta.
I hope.
One day, right? Right-hand side, though, the red buff, sorry, left-hand side, the red buff did go down for Trifecta there as he's trying to pressure out the wave with the rotations out from Rival so far. But Rival really are just playing this by the objectives more than anything else. Gold Fury steal, a little bit fortunate. Spirit Arrow penetrating through targets to try and block it always causes a bit of a problem there, and that's where the kill came from. And then the fact they've got 2 Pyromancers so far. The first one, sure, but 2, it's getting out of hand already.
Exactly. Once you're able to stack these objectives up on top of each other, that's what Rival's looking for. Just the guaranteed chip away. Slow and steady wins the race, or at least that's the platitude that Rival are clinging on to here in this set.
Soul Reaver now online for Wlfy in the mid lane, something we've seen a little bit more of this season as time's gone on. More teams moving away from the Book of Thoth so far.
So the Book of Thoth I'm still a big fan of, but Soul Reaver in general is a mage-specific item. When we see Terra on it, she's blowing people up. Because her job is to just push all her buttons. And you get a Soul Reaver proc for each one. When it comes to Raijin, he does something similar. He's gonna bubblegum on top of you after he Raijus you.
Bubblegum?
Yeah, isn't that what he says?
I guess. I
When he
never thought of it
teleports?
that way. Bubblegum?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's in the lore, I swear. Just don't
Okay.
ask anybody. But my point is, he's dumping his kit, so he's getting his Soul Reaver procs, and that's why I like it on this character.
Wlfy spawns again, and Rival goes straight towards it, pulling it at the moment. Deathwalker, iceicebaby tanking it up. Callus on zone duty. Burst is pretty good. Great banish from Zapman, though. Forces a reset, and now Trifecta are here to respond.
Little bit of damage on top. Wow.
Little bit of damage, lot of damage. Boat's gonna backflip and Sam's still there. Punch to the head, gets Aegis away.
Beautiful peel.
Ice on the front line, gonna push them back. Wlfy's drum's doing what he can, but he's out of the fight too.
Zapman finishes that. Scary D puts down Wlfy. Deathwalker up. Deathwalker down. Paul makes himself known. Double digits for Trifecta.
And not to the Wlfy go Trifecta. They're looking potentially for the Fire Giant, I would say. All over to the right-hand side straight away. Two members go back to base. And there's only iceicebaby alive to even try and defend this.
They've got a 5-on-2 power play for the next 30, 20 seconds. This is absolutely a Fire Giant, and I give a ton of credit to iceicebaby. Not only does he stay alive in that fight, he peels for his he peels for his hunter, who almost makes it out because of said peel. And then when his team does wipe, he goes word.
Oh. And Sam's having none of that Wlfy, my friend. Fire Giant to Trifecta. And Sam will say, thanks for the hard work, Ice. I might even take this for myself, but never mind, a little bit too risky there. What a whoop from Zapman, though. That double banish just changed that fight completely.
Listen, man, I'm going to say it 12 times. He's able to provide what he needs to do for the team.
That's one.
Classic Zapman is going to jump in there and try to get all the kills. Zapman 2018 Season 5, whoop, wait for help.
So now the pace of the game changes once again. Trifecta in the driving seat, the Fire Giant both will be allowed them to take down towers a little bit quicker, have a bit more regeneration, and of course, do a little bit more damage. So this Wlfy should be relatively free, even though Callus is sniffing around to see what's going on. He doesn't like what he sees. Trifecta now take the gold lead.
1,700 for the North Americans so far. And that lead doesn't really mean much. What they need to do is find more of that, because now Trifecta are playing Rivals games. Bit by bit, piece by piece, they're gonna try and formulate a lead by the smaller objectives. That big Fire Giant play is now what's gonna break open the door and allow Trifecta to look for the bigger objectives.
But notice where Rival are positioned now. All the tier 2 towers are being looked after by multiple members purposefully to make sure that this slows down how much the Trifecta can realistically get from the Fire Giant.
We've seen teams give up these tier 2 towers because it's easier to fight under your Phoenix.
For sure.
Even with a Fire Giant, Trifecta's just ahead 3K. If they sweep the tier 2s and the tier 1 on the right-hand side, that's, what is that, 2,000, 15, you're talking about a 6,000, 7,000 gold lead. If Team Rival defend their tier 2 towers, they can stop that. And 2K, that's a lead that you, not only can you should fight into it.
Trifecta then starting to group up in mid lane. Scaredy in the back. He needs to be here for this fight. But Rival are ready to defend. 5 men strong too. iceicebaby and Sam lining each other up around the speed, but they might be more concerned in the speed than the tower themselves.
They're just trying to protect the flank. Zapman sent them to fight.
Callus.
Big ultimate coming out from the Cerberus. Onto the back line goes Deathwalker. Scary D's very
dead?
low, is forced out of the fight. Meanwhile, DW very low. He's gonna escape, but everybody else getting pummeled.
Scaredy's not gonna aggro, but he will get the end of it. iceicebaby trades with Paul. Iceice gets a double. Onward march Rival. Looking for NeiruMah. The pin is good. The leap away is okay. But the 72 transformations may keep it going.
Team Rival right there. Fantastic counter engage. They had patience. That's all they needed. Trifecta, they go for the whoop. Cerberus tries to dump everything, and Team Rival just walk away. Ain't no big deal. And then as soon as Trifecta dump their pockets, Team Rival stomp them in the ankles.
So Fire Giant goes down. Yeah, sure, Trifecta get that. But then in response, Rival win a team fight, defend their tier 2 towers, and then go and take a tier 1, tier 2, and a red buff of their own. The gold lead, back to Rival.
You know how many gold Furies Rival got?
1.
And it was stolen.
Yeah.
They haven't looked for the big objectives at all. They're just trying to fight Trifecta.
Well, iceicebaby's going to be a little bit careful here because right around the corner comes Zapman too. Neil doesn't have his ring just yet, so iceicebaby walking away there a little bit safer. The red buff is exposed once more where Trifecta keep looking. They've just not got many members here this time.
Now Rival's in a much different spot. When it's early in the game, it takes a little bit more of a commitment to kill the red buff. Now you just kind of, and it's very easily taken away there.
Rival seems very calm this game. Like the cameras, the player cameras, the way they're looking at the moment, nothing really scared them so far. Yeah, sure, we lose a bad team fight, they get a Fire Giant, but it was no straight panic from Rival to like, we have to commit, as you were saying, patience on the tier 2 defense for the right moment.
The veteran team. It's absolutely a veteran team. Rival don't exactly have any world championship rings, but they've been here many times before. LAN is familiar ground for them. So being 2K behind when they have a Raijin, yeah, ain't nobody in a purple jersey concerned about that. They're able to keep their emotions under control, keep their team under control, and now they're keeping Trifecta under the same control.
Neither team's really got a lead though as the next Fire Giant is about to spawn. Look at the time at 25 seconds away. Wall coverage will be important here at the moment, slightly favoring Trifecta as Rival have a bit more of a tricky time at the moment trying to get into the pick. Going to take a couple of members to get there and make sure nobody goes in alone. Unless you're callous with Fafnir and proves me wrong.
Callus a little tanky at this point. He's got a Sob, and an early Kusari, actually. He certainly wasn't looking at that. Again, Callus just looking to boost the attack speed. Deathwalker, Ice, and Vote all can be considered basic attack characters. Fafnir has the Coerce in his kit, obviously, but the itemization also looking to bolster his basic attack character.
Sneaky Rival. What are you doing up on this right-hand side? Looking for a tier 2 tower, and Trifecta kind of caught with their pants down a little bit here. Bit of poke onto the tower is going to be good, and Trifecta trying to respond. They're going to get rid of the wards first.
I love this wrap.
NeiruMah is going to lead them in, and immediately banished, forces the beads out of Wlfy, and that is sending Sam for soccer around looking for the kill.
That's so big. Sam still being cautious.
They got to run. You can't be that far forward with Wlfy. They've got to be so careful, and they're all about protecting Wlfy at this point. Knowing that those beads were burnt is a big swing. The main thing is Trifecta did lose a bit of the tower by Rival just moving around the map a little bit more often.
Again, those are the small losses that you definitely take care of in VOD review. You definitely want to watch, but it's not that big of a deal in this game specifically. You can always improve, and that's going to be a point where you look back at the tape and go, all right, that shouldn't have happened. But you're not going to lose a game because of that.
Not right now. Sure. But if you get picked on that situation and one of your members go down, yeah, it's going to really get punished.
Absolutely.
Well, the Fire Giant dance will start to begin now. Most players starting to reach level 20, so experience doesn't matter too much anymore. Gold definitely will until you see all the items in the inventory completed and some of the starter items taken down.
Side game. Not really concerned about 3K on the side of Team Rival just yet. I'm really liking how Trifecta has been able to kind of deal with Rival.
You surprised by the pace at all of the game so far?
A little bit, in all honesty. I think Trifecta are a more high-paced team. Sam for Soccer wants to be hyper-aggressive, and Paul. And that's the end of my sentence. Team Rival, on the other hand, definitely are a team that can play that sort of style, but really, I've seen them be a more meticulous unit. And so, Trifecta have tried to amp the speed up, but Team Rival keep bringing it back down.
Deathwalker's starting up this Fire Giant now, but keep an eye on Sam for Soccer, dueling with Callus on the left-hand side. Paul and Scary are there to support, just looking to poke down Callus a little bit if they can. But Callus, for the most part, did fine.
Trifecta did a great job here. This is fantastic control of the situation, of the spacing, excuse me. Team Rival owned that Fire Giant pit, and Trifecta just inched forward with the right characters, took away some of the vision, and now they have control.
Callus eats an axe to the face as NeiruMah walks to the front line, gets poked out a little bit, but Zapman is under a lot of pressure. He needs some support, forced out. His ultimate is now down, and on the run of Trifecta, just trying to get back to a safer point.
Chasing for Rival would be bad, and I'm glad they peeled held back. The discipline of the Europeans is very important. This Fire Giant fight is going to be won probably by whoever initiates second.
Keep an eye on the left-hand side at the same time. There's a big old minion wave building up where that tier 2 tower could be under pressure, but this Fire Giant is getting very low. NeiruMah's trying to lead in. Zapman on his way back. Sam is around, and the reset has happened. Wlfy gets out, the drums are out. NeiruMah is out with the ring down, but there goes Scary D trying to force something. Voted so low, and Sam just missed, but he will still manage to get somebody.
Trifecta's got the damage. Paul puts down Wlfy. DW answers back, putting down the jungler. NeiruMah finds an exit on the left-hand side. Ice is giving chase. But that's
Scary D is back, and Scary D was trying to go in again, looking for one of the stragglers from Rival. Meanwhile, NeiruMah's had to force back to base. Zapman back in action, but Zapman's going to be careful. I believe that was Beats forced on him.
Yeah, that is a non-fight for me. That Wlfy goes way too aggressive, winds up dying. Paul just does Paul things. And then Cerberus Soccer tries to find something that's just not there. I think that was just kind of sloppy. Both teams kind of dropping the ball. Fire Giant doesn't go down. Everybody a winner.
Will Weaver hits onto Paul, and in goes the damage from the Bellona Eagles rally. Aegis down by Paul, and an axe to the face. But Scary D was trying to protect, ends up falling instead. Zapman in the corner gets disarmed by Deathwalker. And one thing we've not really mentioned just yet is how much disarm Rival have brought to this fight.
They're looking to make sure that the Freya and the Ullr aren't able to do their job. Pyromancer again to Team Rival. Trifecta should not take this bait, and they won't. NeiruMah in a little bit of trouble. Ice with a great flank actually could be a problem. Paul jumps away, and he's the main target. You know what it said in the last fight? Paul is the target for Team Rival. They are isolating him, they are jumping on him, they're using everything. Problem is, Paul Aegis, his relic usage in that individual fight was fantastic. And then you heard me just go, oh my God. Paul just hits the hot 180 axe to the brain. I said it before, that's just dumb.
Speaking about the relic situation right now, it is a bit of a situation where Rival have an advantage. With the Aegis still being available for vote and Wlfy having those beads, it's a definitely better position to be in where Paul and Zapman are at the moment. Specifically when Paul does not have any CC immunity in his kit.
That's the big key, is that Paul just doesn't have as many options as Wlfy across the way. With that said, he does have the leap and his own stun, so he's got different tools. But as far as just get out of jail free cards, Wlfy certainly has an extra one.
Okay, round 52 with the Fire Giant this weekend, and we'll see what happens this time round. War coverage relatively even between the two. They've both got a ward in the pit, and I don't think they can see each other right now. As you can see, Sam Soccer's ward is just out of range of that blue one that's pulsing, which is a sentry. So everything that Rival are doing here is complete vision of Trifecta.
Team Rival, map control of the Fire Giant pit right now. I love the positioning from them pushed up this far because it prevents Trifecta from finding this flank via the secondary channel. If Trifecta want to find a flank, they have to go into the solar lane, which exposes them to minions and puts them on the map. Team Rival are doing a great job of controlling this whole area, and by preventing Trifecta from finding these corridors, they're just forcing Trifecta to be where they want them to be. If Rival's going to dictate the battlefield, Rival's going to dictate the fight.
Like the fact it's Callus leading in the group, though. He's there to try and eat the abilities, juke a couple, and find a hammer, because not only will that hammer stun one target, it'll slow the rest down. As you can see, that axe from Paul did connect, but it doesn't do a whole lot to that tanky little dwarf.
Half hour of play here. Team Rival, Trifecta, nice and even. A 4,000 gold lead. I'm over it, Hindu. I'm over what? I don't think the 4,000 gold lead right now, you can fight into this year, Trifecta. Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's the reason this is so slow paced as well, is because both teams realize that first game is important. Now, you talked about game 2 being so important in the best of 5.
Oh, the science of the set.
The way this season's gone so far, and the way the tournament's gone so far, game 1 has made a big impact on the way teams have performed going into game 2.
Polar Bear Mike is a big proponent of game number 1, and he and I definitely agree on the conversation. Game number 1 sets the tone of the series. Is it going to be aggressive? Is it going to be passive? Is it going to be high action, low action, fast, slow? Game number 1 tells everybody what language you're speaking. Game number 2 lets the player know, or lets the fan know, who's in charge and whose job it is to turn things around. So right now, what language are we speaking? We're speaking team fight language. We're speaking team control. This is not a pick set. Everybody wants to bang 5-on-5.
Chapter are banging. Wlfy's going to be banging the drums, and he's doing a little bit better than he was in the early game. Early on, wasn't so good. Bottom of the player damage, now climbed all the way up to third. Still below Paul, but Paul will drift as the game goes on. I mean, Ullr will drift when the game goes on. Paul will not.
That's Raijin, baby. Early game clear, late game damage. Prowess from this mage, certainly fun to watch. Fire Giant started here by Team Rival, half HP already. They're certainly able to burn it. Meanwhile, NeiruMah going to jump on in. 25% on the objective.
Deathwalker in the back though finds Paul. Paul has to leap away. Zapman to the sky looking for burst damage onto the Raijin. Raijin's Aegis and beats are now down, and Scary gets the kill. Out on the right hand side, Cerberus gets away, but now iceicebaby boxing
Paul's
two.
coming in.
Zap overextends a little bit, has to fall back, but Scary's in a bit of trouble here.
Paul's coming in. He's been out of the fight for the majority of it.
Scary's dead to the Fire Giant. The pin over the wall from Iceice was great, and now Bo ends up picking up Sam for soccer. Rival could now look towards the Fire Giant.
Trifecta got here because they were able to play as a unit. Paul was assisted by the rest of the team.
It's still going.
iceicebaby
It's still
takes
going.
that.
One by one they go, and Neil will at least take out iceicebaby. Well, they're looking for tier 2 or even a Phoenix off this. They must.
Yeah, forget about the Fire Giant.
Maybe not.
Get the tier 2 tower. Now you can look for the Fire Giant. There was a brief moment where I might have argued to go for the win.
They couldn't win off that. What the hell? What are you talking about? How can they win off that?
We can talk.
No, you can talk. I'm not going to.
4 players for 30 seconds plus.
Yeah, but then Phoenix's tower's still up, the whole base to go through, and only 3 members alive to do it. Okay, Tom, I'm with you on that. Fire Giant, though, goes to Rival. And that's the second one of the game. The first one did go to a Trifecta a long time ago, actually. When you think about how this game's been played out, Rival, even though they lost the first Fire Giant, have not looked uncomfortable this set at all.
Nah, it's been a little bit rough. Trifecta find their way here at HRX thanks to a fantastic team performance. They get to placements. Their placements performance, their regular season performance, is the Paul show. Placements, Sam for soccer stepped up. My opinion, Sam was the best player on that LAN. But the reason that they're here is because the team entirely stepped it up. NeiruMah, Zapman played the way they were supposed to. Happening here, Team Rival are jumping on Paul. They're forcing Paul out of the fights. Paul, unable to provide any sort of damage or control by way of axe, leaves Trifecta to fight 4 on 5. And that's how Rival are finding these team fight victories, by forcing Trifecta's mid laner out of the conversation and then taking advantage. If Trifecta want to win this game and convert the series, Paul, rather that, everybody but Paul has to be able to control the situation, and I haven't seen it just yet. That said, it is absolutely possible. We saw it all last week.
Well, Wlfy so far has been the focus from Trifecta in these team fights. You can see 0-4 and 4 so far. But with all the extension over from Trifecta trying to kill the Raijin, it has allowed Rival to continue pressing on in this game. Now to the left-hand side they go. Only 1 tier 2 tower remaining before the Phoenix Sieges begin. And that's the next question, is how good is the Phoenix Siege from Rival?
Well, when you look at the draft, obviously Fafnir drafts are very exciting. Coerce is going to boost up the attack speed of everybody, and that's going to allow you to kill these structures just like that.
And once again, Callus goes for one of his best, most fun options that he loves, Gem of Isolation. The reason he's doing that is because when he empowers all his teammates, they will basically have Gem of Isolation after every auto attack.
Going back to the siege conversation, Wlfy is going to be able to clear and get his minions up in there, and Callus is going to look for the stun. Trifecta, though, have a decent anti-siege composition. Paul with clear, Zapman with punish, and NeiruMah with space control. You drop down that ring and it forces players out.
iceicebaby going to switch to the mid lane for a second. Sam is the one nearest by, as Deathwalker going to walk in for the team now and get banished by Zap. Scaredy eats a hammer in the backside as Deathwalker still tanking this up for the time being. And Scaredy goes for an ult, but Deathwalker jukes it out with his own.
Yeah, it's a little bit rough ult from the doggo. Trifecta very low. That's going to force them into the fountain.
Iceice goes in. Iceice looks for the kill. It's going to be Wlfy that gets it onto Scaredy. Now it's a 4v5 with a Phoenix already taken.
There's the lift on iceicebaby. He's going to be able to heal, uses the ultimate. Left side, Phoenix, down for the count.
And now it's fallback time from Rival, not go too aggressive. If they find another pick or two there, that's the game.
Yes.
But instead, fall back, bring the minions with you from mid, regen, using that Fire Giant block.
Gotta play these sieges intelligently. Paul on the Ullr is actually a downside when it comes to the pushes as far as the siege is concerned. You really want a traditional mage like an Apwash that can just drop the ultimate. That stops everybody. Paul's job is different. He's just looking to punish.
Callus jumps in, but then he de-transforms at the same time, and Paul will get the kill. The burst from Zapman was good. On the back of the team fight, though, he's still wailing away as Sam tries to get a kill on Wlfy and does so. Oh my God, that man's a madman.
It's the punish. It's the punish. Paul comes through, finds it. Sam for Soccer and his buddy jump on top. DW burns the ultimate. Ring is going to lock Vote in.
Dead.
Deathwalker gets a kill, but Zapman puts down the Vote. iceicebaby, he's on a last legs, and Zapman cuts him out from underneath. Deathwalker, the only one alive for Team Rival. I said it before, Paul's looking for the punish, and he sent Rival to the room.
Sure, but there's still 2 Phoenixes down for Trifecta there, and with 1 man still to defend Deathwalker, he should be able to delay them trying to end the game or get anywhere close to. Phoenix at best,
yes.
But even with Deathwalker, don't forget disarms cause so many problems for this team.
They're still going to be able to get the Phoenix,
Not
and this
all,
is
actually.
exactly what Trifecta want to do. They want to pick up the Phoenix, no problem, and that's gonna negate the Fireman essentially.
iceicebaby. Sorry, Ice Deathwalker just going to tank him as much as he can.
They don't get it.
Notice how he goes to shield stance though. Goes to shield, blocks some attack
They
damage,
don't.
reduces it back.
They don't.
Well, they couldn't get the minions in range. You can't sit there and have Deathwalker just blocking all the shots. Like, there's no way. So at the end of the day, Trifecta, sure, they win a team fight, but they don't defend their base as well as they would have liked to. And as you can see, the cameraman showing us that might... Hang on. No, it's fine. It's fine.
Oh, you don't want to yell about the minions?
No, I'm not totally. I can see read minions better.
Hi, Toli. Toli is yelling from the analyst desk, minions at the top of his lungs, by the way.
One day he'll do it and be right, you know, and we're not going to listen to him. That's what's going to end up happening. But now it's up to Trifecta to defend their base with 2 dead Phoenixes, 1 very weak one on the right-hand side, and Rival will have another fire giant because there's no way they can get back over here to try and stop this.
All Trifecta have to do is exactly what they just did. And that's really the biggest key when I'm looking for, when I'm on the back foot in one of these games, Hindu, is I need to know if my team can get the defensive stop. Trifecta just showed that they're capable of doing it. If they can do it then, they can do it now. Trifecta need, looking at the Phoenix situation, Trifecta need 2 defensive stops before the game becomes even.
I can agree.
They stop this push, they fight into it, they get a kill. Then they stop the secondary push, they fight into it, they either win the game right then and there, or they get the chance to defend Fire Giant.
One thing of note, though, neither side has really showed anything in picks and bans here. We've seen all these picks all week long. Maybe the Bellona is a bit of a spice, but it's Deathwalker, he's done it before. And then goes Rival now looking for the final Phoenix, where Sam's having none of that, straight to the back, hitting Wlfy. NeiruMah alongside him as Sam also making sure Deathwalker push back.
Look at iceice's positioning. This is Rival looking for the final push. They want to win the game here and now. iceice is either going to get a flank and murder somebody, or lure Trifecta away from playing D.
But they have to, because left-hand Phoenix is
5 on
coming
3.
up. Zapman's over there trying to defend.
Boom.
That's not going to be the case. Now around the back comes iceicebaby. Paul forced out as
Big
well.
talk.
Into the ring goes NeiruMah, trying to get some defense up for himself, but Phantom is available.
Left side, Wlfy pops the ultimate. He's going to be jumped on as Zapman burns his as well. Team Rival seeping into the throne room. Titan down to 90%.
This is just a classic game of play the map and play the situation and not force the issue.
No, that's exactly what Rival are doing. They are forcing the issue. They are looking for the win right here. I love how iceice does that play as they draw it up. Either we spread the floor and we reduce the amount of defenders on the right-hand side, or I kill you and reduce the amount of defenders on the right-hand side. Either way, Rival winds up with a Phoenix. Now they've got to do the same thing in the middle lane.
No, it's the kill situation too. 17 kills for Trifecta so far, yet they're still behind. Left-hand Phoenix has fallen, middle one, the only one remaining again. Callus taking up the front line to the backside. Deathwalker's looking at Paul, but Paul won that trade. iceice still going in, and iceice may be able to bring down Paul as Gary thinks that Deathwalker.
Paul turns around, gets the axe. iceice does finish off the mid lane Hunter. 1 for 1 so far. Deathwalker tumbles. Trifecta pushing out of the base, but iceicebaby behind. Now Zapman sees him. iceice was trying to win the game. clean.
But now Ice Ice in trouble, trapped inside the ring. The drums of war from Wlfy.
That's it.
Caused so many problems for Zapman. Fire minions still pouring in. Don't get scary D and Rival are heading to the throne room. Rival are going to take game 1 against Trifecta.
Team Rival with a fantastic dedication in that last moment. They drew up a play. They wanted to get that right Phoenix. When it came down to it, they got that. The mid lane was a little bit more difficult, but iceicebaby on that Erlang Shen. A turtle made it to the water. They take game 1.
Tom, honestly, looking through that game, neither side really showed much. That's what I was going back to. Zap's been playing Freya before. We've seen Paul on the Ullr. This was a real feel out for both teams to see who's here to play and what the plan is next.
Look at the quizzical looks on Team Rival, and this is why they've gotten so far. They've won this game, and they're still breaking it down, very serious. They are not content.
Speaking of breaking it down then, let's get it back to the analyst desk to break down game 1 as we look towards game 2 of this best of 5.
Thank you so much, Hindu Man, Final Cannon, and totally joining me once again here at the Alienware Analyst Desk. And if you guys are just joining us right now, this is day number 2 of HRX presented by Mixer. We have electricity going on in the audience, man. The hype, I thought this was an NA crowd, but no, everyone was cheering for Rival in that game.
It's split down the middle. You can see the Splice jerseys on one side, the previous set, Trifecta jerseys, Rival jerseys this set. I think it's even split, but Trifecta not able to perform the same way Splice did in the last set.
Yeah, it was definitely a lot of back and forth in that game, which we kind of expected. But I think that's a good sign for Trifecta because we haven't really seen them up against Rival at all, and Rival is one of the best EU teams for sure. So seeing them, actually they had a Fire Giant, had potential definitely to win that game, but it just was Rival's defense was too strong.
Going into picks and bans, I could tell the adaptations from both of these teams, allowing the Erlang Shen to go through early so that you can get the Freya, you can get the Odin as well, the first time we've seen it so far in HRX. But then after the secondary ban phase, this Fafnir of Bellona double disarm. Zap couldn't do the same amount of damage that he wanted to.
Yeah, that Deathwalker defense on the mid Phoenix towards the late game there, 1v4, and getting that on, I forgot what it's called, but getting it onto the ADC.
Disarm onto Paul. He was just not able to do anything, and then he absorbed a bunch of shots onto Zapman as well. I think Deathwalker had a fantastic game.
But tell me why we saw Erlang Shen on Ice and not on Deathwalker there, fine, okay?
Well, I think they just were going for a double warrior comp to look to dive pretty hard. And if they get to Erlang, I think they were trying to use it as a flex. They were just waiting to pick, and I guess they saw that they had a Freya and an Ullr, 2 gods that are definitely going to be countered by Bellona, so they elected to go with the Bellona as well.
I think this was the turning point of the game when Trifecta had the Fire Giant, but they got too ambitious at the Tier 2 tower, overcommitting onto Deathwalker. Deathwalker survives with 5% health, and then the chase was on.
There were so many turning points to that game, though. It even looked like towards the end there, Trifecta took down 4 members of Rival. That could have been their game.
The problem was there was still too much buildings and structures remaining, and the respawn timers were not as long for Rival, so Trifecta couldn't really bring that to an end.
Yeah, fine, okay. It definitely seemed like Rival was playing the passive game. They were very patient. Anytime that it seemed like Trifecta was taking that aggression, they were backing off. Do you want to see that again in game 2, or do you want to see them change it up a little bit and maybe even show more aggression?
I think it was just a couple little mistakes. As far as the comps go, Rival's comp was definitely better in the mid to late game. They had a lot more AoE. Trifecta's comp was looking more to try and kill one person, burst them, to whoop them into an Ullr stun, into a Cerberus ultimate. Just CC chain them. You saw that at Gold Fury, the one fight that they got, and they won and went towards Fire Giant. They CC chained Collis before he could even get his Fafnir ultimate off. So they were definitely just looking for the single kills into the team fight, and they definitely had a better early game. I'm perfectly fine with the same exact type of comps in the next game.
It's a good point that you mentioned that Paul had 34,000 player damage that game. Zapman 24,000, and that's what their job was all about, doing the damage, but not too much utility compared to the other gods. Vote had a lot of good ultimates. Wlfy was controlling a lot of team fights towards the later stages. Callus not only was playing the Fafnir, but he also picked up the Frenzy to allow his backline more damage.
I mean, at first glance, it looked like a very even game, even in towards the late game, but they were 10K behind with only 1 kill behind. How does that happen? How does that gold difference happen?
A lot of it had to do with the early objectives. So Deathwalker got a pretty big lead on the Berserker Shield Bellona, and what he was doing was, off the pressure and the proxying that he was doing, clearing the way behind the tower, he'd walk over to Pyromancer and just pull it every time it was up, and it was really hard for Trifecta to
That's
deal
right.
with.
Rival got 2 early Pyromancers this game, stole away that first Goal Fury with a nice weave root combination from Vote just right around the corner. And from there, Rival was just able to get those little leads.
Is this what we wanted to see out of Neith? Because she started off 0-2 at the start of the game.
It was very easy to predict where Neith is going to land from the backflip. I think first blood was from NeiruMah jumping into that backline, and then I believe it was a gank here coming from Sam to get that second death. Vote struggled early, but ended great, I would say, in the lane.
Yeah, I think he was like 1-4 at one point, but he was actually a level up on Zapman, who was, I think, positive, like 2-1.
Yeah.
And a lot of that had to deal with the fact that Sam came over and got the gank off, and they put Vote behind, but just a lot of good farming, a lot of help from Collis to get him back into the game.